Hello and welcome. I am Brian Brewer. In today's podcast, we're going to be covering a topic I read a book about recently called The Squiggly Career. And very timely, as most of you know, nowadays careers aren't so linear. They're increasingly becoming squiggly. The typical staying with just one organization through retirement, being rewarded with a gold watch and a generous pension just rarely exists anymore. So today, that's what we're going to be talking about and learning a little bit about how to navigate your way through this environment. Really kind of solo entrepreneurs who jump around between different careers, jobs, either for companies or for themselves. The book is actually available on Amazon. I have the Kindle version here. You can see it is a $10 book, and it's from Helen Tupper and Sarah Ellis, and lots of good tips here that we'll talk about. So a couple of stats here. Throughout our lifetimes, most of us are going to spend an average of 90,000 hours working. So what we do and how we spend that time is important. As mentioned, careers are not so linear anymore. They've become increasingly squiggly, lots of different twists and turns as you go through that path of your career. One thing, though, that this does give us is it gives us a lot of freedom to decide what we're going to do and how we're going to spend that time. Used to, careers would progress really through internal corporate structures and through various promotions you would get at your company. That's increasingly outdated. We see people are more dedicated to specific skills and roles within a company and not necessarily moving up or down. And the average tenure at a company continues to drop. So compared to previous generations, we have a lot more freedom to decide how our careers play out and what we want to do. According to a study from the management consulting firm McKinsey and Company, as many as 375 million people will have to change their careers in the next 10 years. Especially with the pandemic and COVID, that's accelerated some of the change in industries worldwide. So learning really to adapt to new technologies and industries to ensure that you have opportunity in the future is really important. And these changes are really leading to a lot more flexibility in how we work. A study that the YouGov did, indicated things like flexible working hours increase employee productivity by 72%. We've seen that a lot over the last couple of years, but that flexibility brings its own challenge. Being remote can be lonely, lack of human interaction, and then just getting plugged into an organization as well. And we experience that too, kind of in the world of entrepreneurship, where a lot of the work is done independently, and how do we keep ourselves moving forward. So we're going to identify some practical changes you can make to kind of squiggle your way through a rewarding career, whether it's working on your own or working at a company. So first, kind of tips here: identify your strengths and focus on what you're good. One thing to note is you can't be good at everything. So you don't want to spread yourself too thin. Be honest with yourself and try to determine what are the skills that I'm really good at. What are the things that I like to do, and then focus on developing and mastering and those strengths. And really, your strengths are going to be a combination of talent, experience, your attitude, and your behavior. So it's more than just your kind of built-in talent. Your strengths can also play into the experience that you've that you've had in the past. The author in this squiggly book recommends that people spend about 80% of their time enhancing their strengths And so that just leaves 20% of your time to identify and tackle the weaknesses that get in the way of your performance. So really, we're spending nearly all of our time increasing and working on our strengths and just 20% on those weaknesses that we have. And this book, interesting, calls out what they call super strengths, which super strengths are those qualities that your friends, your family, your colleagues would associate you with when you're not in the room. What do people generally think you're really good at? You're not just good at them, you're really good at them. And these super strengths should be used frequently and visibly throughout your career. And you want to let people, know what you're good and make sure that your current work is harnessing those super strengths you have. In my background, I have always been good at technology and figuring out how to make things work, if it's programming code or debugging application software, and then also around project management and operations. So those are really been my super, you know, is marketing or networking, those things my strengths? No. So I have to play into what I'm really good at and then work a bit on those things that I can improve and then build a network around me that complements those weaknesses that I have. You also want to think about as you navigate through your career is integrating your values into your work. Is the work meaningful and interesting to you? Sometimes I get questions from potential clients who are looking to start up a business. Do I need to be passionate about the work? Do I need to like the niche that I'm going into? And I always tell people, well, it's going to make it a whole lot easier if it's meaningful or interesting to you. Not to say that you can't be successful in a niche that you're not interested in, but it certainly is going to make it easier for you to be successful. And really, those who go into something where they have passion and interest in tend to be the most successful. So I recommend, and just like this book says, is integrate really your interests, your values into the work that you're planning to do. Does it align with your values and goals for life? If you're looking for where you can stay home with your kids involved in local sports or activities, yet the job you're looking at involves lots of travel, that's not going to integrate well with your values. So all of those components need to be taken into consideration. The book here breaks out three different phases of life values: the imprint, which is birth to 7 years, as we kind of learn what our values are from our parents; then copycat, 8 to 13, where we kind of mimic or model a lot of the values that we see around us. And then the rebel phase, teenage years, where we question those values we've learned and try to integrate the differences that we believe with what we have learned. So it's probably a good exercise to kind of spend a little bit of time in understanding what your values are and what you're looking for in your career. Now, it's as you look at a squiggly career, one thing is it takes a lot of confidence to move around to a new job. You have to kind of reprove yourself. You need to you've got a whole nother set of peers that you're working with and clients and supervisors that don't know you. So it could be hard in this kind of new environment that we work in to have confidence, especially if that doesn't come natural to you. We all do have moments of self doubt, so that's not going to be unusual. I think everybody experiences that. But, one thing some people believe is that confidence is something that is just built into you, that some people are confident, some people are not. The truth is that confidence can be learned and improved through practice. You know, when I first started my career, I went into I worked a number of different jobs in the technology field, and eventually I decided I wanted to go into consulting, and mainly because I wanted to get over my fear of speaking publicly in front of a and kind of doing presentations in front of executives and colleagues. And so I felt like, consulting is going to force me to get in front of a group of folks and do a presentation, to do a proposal, to do all those things that I was kind of scared to do. And so when I was in my mid 20s, I left the job that I was working at, went into a consulting firm doing IT consulting. And, immediately the first job I had was in Oklahoma City, working with a nationwide florist company, and had to do presentations on how to revamp some of their processes and systems. And over time, I was able to increase my confidence and, did that for 15 years and became very, very good at that. So confidence can be learned. You have to practice it, practice it though. So you want to think about what are the fears that are stifling your potential? What gremlins do you have that are holding you back? And you want to challenge figure out how you can integrate some of those gremlins into your daily work and address them. And then, treat yourself when you do that. Make it a positive experience, reward yourself when you do face those gremlins and make some progress. Networking kind of in this new world, super important. It's not necessarily the number of people in your web network, it's the quality of your network connections is super important. According to some research that indicated in this book, we can have a maximum of 150 casual friends, 50 close friends and confidence and supporters, 50 close friends, and then 15 confidants and supporters, and then 5 best friends. So see the numbers can be low. Sometimes you go to LinkedIn, you see someone's connected to, 5,000 people. Well, the reality is that our network that's going to be valuable to us is going to be much smaller. And you don't necessarily need to be an extrovert to be able to create and nurture a good networking and good relationships. I've certainly would be considered more of an introvert, but I'm able to develop those relationships over time in my own way and build up that network of different folks and different skills and different industries that I've encountered that can help me. The job I'm at for 3 years, I decide to move on and do something else. Or if I'm looking at starting up a new venture, who has some experience in that field that could help me, and your network becomes super valuable for that. One other thing to know is you are looking, especially if you're looking to expand your skills into other industries and other areas, maybe that your career hasn't taken you yet, and looking for a mentor to help you is rather than vaguely asking someone to mentor you in that industry or that field, is be specific in your request. Let them know what you need help with and what you're trying to do, and you'll get a lot better help from a mentor when you're more specific. We also want to change our mindset. We want to focus more on possibilities, on the future possibilities. The classic, education and then work and then retirement. is rapidly going extinct. So we want to look at what are other jobs or professions that you could see yourself taking on. And you want to think about, of course, your super strengths. What are those other jobs or professions that also could benefit from those same super strengths that you have? And there's a few possibilities. You could have your pivot possibility. Those you use your same skill set and super strengths, but just in a fresh way. So you pivot from one industry or career to another that's similar. You also have your ambitious possibility. So something you've always considered but have decided against for some reason. Maybe you have it, there's certain educational requirements or certain experience required, and so it's difficult to move in to that field. One thing that I did back when I graduated college is I thought, because I had always been involved in IT and technology, even through college, and I had some jobs through college doing that. But when I graduated college, I had a finance degree, and I said, I want to be a stockbroker. I want to help people with their finances. And so I interviewed with Edward Jones Investments, and I was offered a position with them as a stockbroker. And with that model, you will move and open up your own office. And it's kind of like an independent entrepreneur. You're responsible for opening that office, building your business, and you get paid 100% commission. So there's no salary there except for the first year. So I did that. I moved from Texas to Virginia Beach and opened up an Edward Jones office. And I quickly realized that it wasn't something that I liked. I liked the consultative aspect of helping people plan for their retirement and their finances, but I didn't like the sales aspect of it, which is a big part of that. And so it wasn't for me. I just, made a, a big, move across the country and opened up an Edward Jones office. And within months decided that I didn't like it. And I was just like, 22, 23 years old, right out of college. So I just pivoted back into IT and picked up from there where I left off basically. So that was an ambitious possibility and something that I tried, but didn't necessarily want to do. And then you have your dream possibility. So if you had nothing holding you back, what would you do? So keep, kind of plan what are the pivots that you could do in your career? What are the kind of more ambitious paths you could take? What does that dream possibility look like as well? And then decide what's important to you and why. And that's going to help you navigate kind of your career compass and figuring out as opportunities arise. How do you move across these different possibilities and making the right choices? So, curiosity, feedback, and grit, important qualities to have as you navigate through your career. Curiosity is staying current on new trends and opportunities with folks jumping around and moving to new careers and jobs every few years or more frequently. You need to stay up to date on what the current trends and the current opportunities are out there and enhance your skills to be able to use those trends that may be coming up. Seek feedback from your current employers on what you can do better, and realize too that natural talent isn't everything. I have a client yesterday that what is buying a new age domain site, and they they really want to make a success out of this. They've had some previous online businesses in the past that never panned out, so they're really working hard to make this one a success. But, comment was, well, I see all these people on Facebook and they create this site or they do this or that, and they've got thousands of visitors, or they're ranking high and they're making $1,000 a day on this. And they've got this e-commerce product or this dropship product and all these things. I see all these people saying all these success they have. And, it gets you to kind of doubt your own confidence and your abilities and thinking, well, these people just are, they just do it and they naturally have talent for this. But by and large, that's simply not true. These people have, worked for many years. Sometimes they, especially our industry, they may not really be successful, but, we've got a lot of fakes. But those that are, it's not necessarily natural talent. It's hard work that they have put into it. And so, we use the word grit, the amount of effort you put into something, which is really a better gauge of success. It's, how bad do you want it? How much work are you going to put into that effort? So grit is super important. I would say, recognize what really fascinates you, what really interests you. If you're going to put lots of effort into something, then it needs to be something that's going to keep your interest and that you're really interested in. And that's not to say that, if you're going to start an online business in the affiliate world, that you need to love writing. You may not. Affiliate sites are all about content. So, but you can outsource that. Maybe your thing is you love research. You love, identifying what trends are happening in a niche or industry. So you can direct writers towards the right content that's going to rank. But you're not going to be the writer. So that's, deliberate practice every day to advance your skills. So things that you don't know, watch podcasts, join webinars, take online courses, do what you can to advance your skills and become more knowledgeable. You want your skills, your understanding, your education to continue to develop every week. Identify a greater purpose for your goals. So this will help you keep that effort going when you can see, what is that long range goal you have? Is that goal to replace income from a current job? Is it to pay for college for your kids? Is it, what is that goal that's going to keep you moving? And then always adopt a growth mindset. Don't be happy with just where you're at. Figure out what do I need to do to take it to the next level? What am I going to do to grow this? If you're not growing it, then it's going to slowly die away. All right. So examine your options as you move through and you have opportunities that come up. Maybe the opportunity you're at right now is perfect. Is the grass really greener on the other side? Do you need to make a move? And you want to consider, are you happy and still learning a lot at the current endeavor? If it's a business you're running or a job you have, are you learning? Are you growing there? Will a new role use your super strengths and help you live your values that we talked about? An IBM study says that folks are 12 times more likely to quit if they are not growing their skills and experience. So if you feel stagnant, you're not going to be very productive and 12 times more likely to quit. Get into something that you like and that you're growing. In side projects, too, you can, not necessarily leave your current opportunity, but start up a side project that maybe can provide you with valuable experience and an outlet to explore and grow your skills while still keeping your existing opportunity that you have. So, summarizing here, identify and employ your strengths 80% of the time. You're working working on growing your strengths and 20% on your weaknesses. Build mutually beneficial networks. These are going to help you as we go through this crazy, career of many, many different jobs or businesses that you may be running throughout your career. work on boosting your confidence, which can be done through training and practice, and then make sure to integrate your values. So, advice for this week and kind of from this book that I got was kind of actionable advice you can take is document your successes each week, or you can try to reflecting on what are the steps forward that I took, what are things that I learned or that I did better, things that went well, and then what were the steps back? What were the things that didn't go well? And then, look at it. Are you moving forward? Are you taking more steps forward than you are taking steps backward? We want to make sure we're moving forward. All right. So I think this book is, especially in today's times is very valuable and has some great tips here. So hopefully I've given you some of those. And if not, you can get the book and read the full thing here. So let's move on. We're going to talk about our weekly SEO tip. And this week we're talking about KGR, keywords, which stands for Keyword Golden Ratio. And what this is this is a data driven method for finding keywords that rank high in Google and usually very quickly. Sometimes the same day or just a few days, we can have an article ranking by using the KGR method. These keywords are typically underserved on the internet, so there's not a lot of content out there. And so Google is going to reward you for providing quality content on that topic. So let's look at the formula. So the KGR formula is the number of Google results that have the keyword phrase in the page title. So if your keyword phrase is best kayaks for teenagers, then that would be in the page title. Okay. So we're looking for results that have that full keyword phrase in the page title and then divided by the monthly search volume where that search volume is less than 250. So we're really just looking for keywords that have search volumes of 250 or less. And then that keyword phrase is in the page title. So you can see the formula here is KGR equals the number of all entitled results. So how do you get a search result where that keyword is in the page title? Because otherwise, if you just do a regular search, it's going to return back all kinds of results where it's maybe in the first paragraph or somewhere in the body of the text or wherever. Could be anywhere, but we want it in the title. So if you use this qualifier, all in title results or all in title, then the keyword is Google is going to give you those keywords that are only in the title. So we're going to take that result. Let's say we best kayaks for teenagers and we get back 200 results. Okay. And then we're going to divide that by the search volume. How much search volume does that have? So let's say that there's 100 search volume for it. So if we divide 200 by 100, okay? Now that ratio that comes up, if it is less than 0.25, then that is KGR compliant, and that's great. If it's between 0.25 and 1, then it's not quite KGR compliant. It might work, it might be good, but you're getting farther away from it being great, okay? So you could consider, especially if you're getting very few that are 0.25 or below, then you could consider going up a little bit. And then if it's above 1 ratio, then it's not KGR compliant. It's not going to be, low competition. So you should stay away from that and focus on those that have the lower ratios. So that's the KGR ratio there. And I will show you um, how to do this here. So let's pull up Google. All right. So we've got our screen up here. And let's go to Google. And what we're going to do is do all in title. And then let's do best kayaks for teenagers. Okay. Okay, so see, there's none in there. So let's try like fishing. It's kayaks for fishing. All right. So we do have some where that's in the title. So best fishing kayaks is in there. We can see best fishing kayak, best fishing kayak. See, all of these have that best fishing kayak within the title here. Okay. So now that came back 670 results here. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the 670 going back to the formula here. Let's go back to that formula. Okay, is all untitled results. So that's going to be 670 divided by the search volume of this, which you could get from Rush, from Hrefs, from a number of tools to get the search volume for a particular keyword. And then that'll give us our ratio. Okay. Now you have to do that for each keyword phrase that you're wanting to research. So if you got, 200 keyword phrases and you want to see which ones are KGR compliant, you'll need to do that all entitled search for each one. Best way is to create you a spreadsheet, put each keyword in there, and then run you a search and just record all the results, the number of results, and then the search volume for each, and then do a calculated column there to get your ratio, and then you can sort by that to see which ones are compliant. It is, we use KGR on a lot of our sites that we build, and it's very successful in most all cases. So here's a good example here of a site that started out on January with, very low traffic, 5,000 in traffic. And then over the period of a year of adding articles slowly each month using just the KGR method on this site. And that we identified those keywords, ran through the KGR and got those ratios and focused on those. You can see that we had an 800% traffic increase from 5,000 to 42,000 in the period of 12 months. So we know it works, and you'll find lots of research from other folks in the industry as well that this. Now, if you are interested in doing KGR, certainly can do it manual. You can also check out humanproofdesigns.com. Under the menu option, grow your site. We do have a KGR package you can order. There we take 1,000 keywords in your niche and we calculate the KGR ratio for all 1,000 of them. And then we sort that, give you all of the results. And then we guarantee that at least 50 of the will be KGR compliant. If they're not, then we'll go find more keywords until we get you at least 50. Typically, in a batch of 1,000 that we analyze, we'll find about 200 to 250. They're going to be KGR compliant. It's going to vary per niche, but that's pretty typical of the number you'll get. And so you could consider getting the KGR pack from Human Proof Designs. That'll save you lots and lots of time. All right. And so that is it for this week. We will talk to you next week. Thank you.